doing today's video about different things that Dungeon Masters can employ, which I've learnt over 50 years of being a Dungeon Master. I'm lucky because I'm actually deep in an elven forest at the moment, as you can see. If I turn like this, and then you can see behind me the dense forest trees where the elven archers hide. And at the end of the forest, as we walk along the path, you'll see the magnificence of the woodland elven city that awaits. So here we go. Oh, I was just there, look. This is the path to where I live from the car. That's the garage. When it comes to the style of Dungeon Master, people often say to me, how do you play the game? What's your style of playing? And there is you. Whatever you do is your style. I think there are... If you imagine that a Dungeon Master is a hunter, this is the analogy I'm going to stick with in this, right? So, and having the perfect game, you're never going to get that. It's like an artist, you always think the next one's going to be perfect, and that's what drives you to create and create and create. So you go on the hunt, and coming back with something that you've hunted is what you're trying to do. Creating the perfect dungeon, running the perfect dungeon. So as a hunter, there are two sorts of hunters. There's the sort of hunter who wakes up in the morning, grabs his bow and arrows and tootles off out of the hut into the woods without really much of a clue what's happening, except that he's going to bring back something for dinner. That's the sort of Dungeon Master who wings it. They have an idea, they've got a story, they've got a story in their heads. They might have made some notes on bits of paper. They might have an app, they might have written something down. They might have a sort of introductory sentence. They might think of things all week before the next adventure, before you meet, and then they tell you that. You're going to an inn, and they guess what you want to drink. I'll have a pint of elven brandy. Oh, okay, that's 3 gold pieces. But it's not, they couldn't, can you show me the price of this? Can I have a menu? You couldn't do that because, this is not a Christian, because they're winging it. Okay. Perfectly acceptable, valid style. If that's how you play, that's how you play. Well done. Great. Okay. And I'm not criticising anybody, ever. The reason why Dungeons and Dragons went off the rails very quickly was because big businesses got involved and they tried to make it so corporate that the real creative beauty of D&D was lost. And the big mistake they made, and I'm backed up by people who were there, was they brought in rules. The publication of the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Guide put the mockers on this game, which is why people like me don't use them. Don't use them. And that's why I do PDFs for free for you to have, which I suppose are in absence of my using any guides. I'm not alone in this. There is another sort of hunter. The other sort of hunter plots everything, plans everything to the nth degree. They spend months planning. They track their way through the forest. They imagine what everybody's going to say. What's the scenario? If you go through that door, who are you going to meet? What's the tension point? What might they say? What have they got for sale? He's got things for sale. What's he got for sale? Where's the list of what he's got for sale? How much does it cost? I've got to write all that down now. You end up with piles and piles and piles of things. Where in the world might they go? So I've got to have a map. But what if they come off my map? What if they go somewhere else? You've got to have a bigger map. That's me. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. This is my world map. Right? So imagine you're starting on there. And the dungeon takes place, let's say, at the tower there. Okay? But now my brain's saying, what if they go north? What if they keep going? And what having got up there, what if they keep going? And what if they keep going? And what if they keep going? So I know that an inn's taxed 3 gold pieces, so it needs to make 30. In a city, they could make 30 gold pieces during a coronation week or a big celebration. But an inn, a roadside inn in the middle of wilds and moorland, their customer base is a lot lower. So you might go in and think they're charging a lot of money for a small beer. Because I also base all my drinks and food on what was available in 1100 in England. Because that's where I'm setting it. Because I'm a plotter. See? My diseases are all named after medieval things. You get the ague. You get the small fever. So, because it's all based on what a medieval doctor might tell you you've got. You might have the bloody flux. He doesn't tell you what you've got. He just describes what he thinks you've got. Because I'm a plotter. So I've got a doomsday book. But so we're going A3. We're going to A3. What's in A3? Well, I can see it on the map, but what's it worth? Taxable. I need a doomsday book, so I need a key. So I've got a key. And then I turn to page A3. I can tell you everything I need to know about A3 is on there. Who owns it? How much it's worth? Any history? It all pops up out of there. Now, I don't do that because it's the right way to do it. I do it because I enjoy it. And I'm a plotter. Right? So don't look at this and think that's what I've got to do. No! The whole point of Dungeons and Dragons was you don't have to do anything. When they started creating, it was a slim idea, a guide of these are some plot points. When I was a teacher, if I was trying to get the children to write a story, I wouldn't just walk in. A bad teacher would walk in and go, write a story. But a good teacher might play a record. Or you might have the children close their eyes and use a sound effect like crinkle brown paper or bubble wrap. Or you might slowly, while their eyes are closed, light a candle, hear the scratch of the match. And then you blow it out and they sniff. What can you smell? Use all your senses. Or you paint a scene. And that's what they're going to, that's the inspiration for the story. Or it might be a sentence. So that's what you're doing. And that's what Dungeons and Dragons was. When Gary Gygax came up with the idea, it was to have, can I emphasize this? To have fun, right? So this is how I have fun. If you don't have fun this way, for goodness sake, don't do it. Do it your way. But right, okay, so the hunter set off, and I'm a plotter, so I plotted. The meanderers, he's gone off long before me. He's well into the woods. And in our quivers, we've got arrows. And these arrows are different ways of steering and directing your dungeon. This is where some people get mixed up now, because some people call these types of dungeon master. I've seen videos. What type of dungeon master are you? Excuse me. And they're misnomers, because what type of dungeon master are you? I'll ask you, what type of dungeon master are you? And your answer, quick as a flash, should be me. I am. What kind of dungeon master am I? Me. I am this. I'm this type, right? But within this type or your type, there are quivers of arrows in your quiver. Keeping the analogy, are you keeping up? And each one is different. Each arrow is different. It might be a magic arrow. It might be for bringing down great beasts. They're all different arrows. I can't think of several different arrows. So that's where it's petered out now, the analogy. So I'm one of these arrows. Let's pull out an arrow. What's this one? Oh, storyteller. Right. Something that dungeon masters do, they tell stories. Some people will tell you that being a storyteller is a style of being a dungeon master. No, it's not. Being a storyteller is something you use at various points in your dungeon. So, I'm a storyteller. We all are. Your dungeon has a beginning. Each session or each section is a chapter. It will have an end, a conclusion, and usually afterwards you have a talk about what happened. That's a bit like an epilogue, perhaps. You might then modify things with characters, and that would become an appendix. So you are writing a story. Are you guiding the story through a set path? So we're all storytellers. But that's not a style of dungeoning, that's just a fact. It helps to take that arrow out now and again to remind yourself that you're telling a story. I would argue for a dungeon master and for running a game, if I had a club that I ran, and it was my club and I ran it, I would encourage as many people as possible to be dungeon masters, and I would do that by saying a dungeon lasts 2 months. So your dungeon is going to last 2 months. So we're coming up to August at the moment. So if you were going to do the next dungeon, you've got August and September. And then in October, somebody else has got a turn. And that way, you know how long people have got to plan the next dungeons. And we know that we're going to play in 2 months. So it's got to roll along. I don't want to read War and Peace. Sometimes I want to read Fatty Puffs and Thinifers, which is a nice little thin book, which I have mentioned before for those of you who are new to the channel. So we need things that are concise. Even Lord of the Rings comes in 3 books. You don't get all. Well, of course you do. I know you do. But you know what I mean? It'd be better to have it in little sections. That's what I do. Just so that people know when time's up, we're moving on. Somebody else is going to get a turn. Be a different style, different experience. Keep it nice and fresh. The other thing is, you see, while I'm playing your dungeon, you might give me a right good idea. I don't want to wait 3 years before I get a turn to be dungeon master, because I want to use that idea. Another arrow. And sometimes this might happen in the game. So you come to a point where the players are sort of stalling a bit. You want them to move on, and they've got stuck in the wrong place in a way. They're trying to go one way, that's not where they're meant to go, because that's not a quest. They've lost track. How do you get them back on track? You pull out an arrow that says Uber driver, right? And you become an Uber driver. And you drive them. You let them get in your Uber and you drive them to a destination that you want them to be at. So, an example. Party are they're in a dungeon, and there are 3 possible ways to go. And you want them to go down. But there are 2 other options. But if you're like me, a plotter, I don't want them to go that way. So I've not spent weeks and weeks and weeks drawing every paving stone and cobweb in dungeon places that they ain't going to go. So what do? I put an obstacle in the way. I'll let them go down the corridor. I don't say, no, you're not going down that corridor, because I'll come to that. It's another arrow. They set off down the wrong corridor. They don't know it's the wrong corridor. But after some time, maybe 5 minutes, there's a strange rumbling ahead. And it grows and grows. And the floor starts to shake and the walls start to shake, and the party naturally are going to pause, and poof, whole ceiling collapses and piles of rock and dust pour all over them. And when the smoke clears and they've relit their lanterns and torches, they see the entire area ahead of them has been covered in a rockfall and there's no way through. So they go back. There's a door, but that's a wrong way as well. I don't want to do that again. They opened the door and they put a light in, and they'd see the walls shine in a dull metal reflection. And as far as they can see, to the sides and ahead, is a pool of bright green, bubbling, acrid, stinking, thick, oozy liquid. Now you know they can't go that way. It's going to kill them. Don't kill them. Just if anybody's daft enough to step in it, give them a nasty shock, melt their boots. And they have to do this. You've no boots. Oh no! But don't kill them. Just get them back on the right track. I've Uber driven them back where I want them to go, to the stairs now. So let's go to that other arrow, another vital arrow, and you'll use this a lot, and you do use this a lot. You might not have put a name to it, but you do. It can be the most crucial arrow in the quiver. And it's, take it out, let's have a read. It says, read the room. Know your players, sense the mood, what's happening. If they're enjoying something, if they're meant to be going through the door, but something you put in as an accident or something that you've generated as a random thing is making them laugh. They're having a giggle. One of them's turned themselves into a piglet and they're trying to catch him. Somebody's thrown their hat on him and he's run away. And they're having a proper giggle. The actual players, they're having a whale of a time making fun of each other, and let them go. Just sit back and relax. Because, my friend, for 5-10 minutes, your work is done. Just shut up and let them enjoy it. Don't stop that. If you're building up tension and you can feel the tension, keep the tension. Don't break it. Keep the tension. If people are getting bored, somebody over there is getting bored. He's yawning, he's nodded off, he's playing on his phone. Drag him in. Every character in our game has a name. We call each other by our names in the game. So just wait. Yeah, it's all going on quite nicely. And Medoc is over. That's me, by the way, so I can do this. Medoc's over there and he's bored, looking out the window, and you suddenly go, Medoc, what are you doing? Jeez, what? Whatever. Read the room. Keep the ball rolling. Anybody brought a ball? What? Keep the ball rolling. Keep the game going. I'm a stickler. Old school Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, thank you. Hands up. I am. like Gary Gygax, wrote a piece of paper or two, typewritten, about what he thought the rules for Dungeons and Dragons should be when it started. And one of the rules is the 10-minute rule. And he advocated using a chess clock. I have a chess clock. You might use egg timers. You might just count in your head. But basically, he would say, you've got 10 minutes. If you go in that room, you've got 10 minutes. And if you're not out of it in 10 minutes, something's going to happen to you. And it's going to drive you out. If you're in a fight and you're still in it in 10 minutes, you're exhausted. You have to leave. I'm not as strict as that. But I do have a clock, and you go in a room and I'm going to go click. And you can hear the I might not be timing anything really. I never tell the players anything. You might give them 20 minutes, you might give them 15 minutes, you might not care. But even if I'm not timing it, I've not really given you 20 minutes, but this is dragging on a bit, you know. Flipping heck. Say, right, your time's run out. I'm sorry guys, you're exhausted, you're gonna have to leave the room, and the monsters back off into a room and you've got to back off because you're physically exhausted. You've lost all your stamina. If any of you have done role playing, live role playing, LARPing or reenacting, you know how tired, or martial arts and combat, you get tired. That's why boxers do 3-minute rounds. They don't fight for hours because they just physically can't do it. It's tiring. It's hard work. So that's why at Hastings, they were like 7 times, charge, withdraw, charge, withdraw. Because you just stand all day going bonk, 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 bonk. Can't be done. So the timer's a good one. Keep it moving. Sometimes move things along by putting something behind them they've got to run away from. Put something in front of them that they've got to run towards. Entice them in. If they're agonising over, if you played in the old days, people would crawl in to test a trap. I'm testing that paving stone. Is it a trap? No. Okay. I'm going to go to the very next square. Is it a trap? Throw a dice. No. Okay, I'm going to go to the very next square. And it's like a corridor, miles long. Goodbye, brain cells, I must leave you. No, don't do that. Just if somebody says, I'm looking for traps. You say, fine, I know what you're doing. If you find anything, I'll tell you. You don't need to say it again, it's done. Okay? And once you've told your players that once, they don't need to ask again. I'm looking for secret doors. We're always on the lookout for secret doors. Fantastic, I know that now. Great, you've told me. Wonderful. Doesn't mean they'll always find them, but they're always on the lookout for them. A trap might be so well concealed that even people looking for it don't spot it. You can still throw for them. Like I say, it doesn't mean you then reveal every trap you've ever come up with. If I'm looking on the floor for things on the paving stones, and then I grab hold of a door handle and it's got a needle inside, I'm not looking for that. How did that happen? Let's get another arrow. Roll with it. Things are going to happen in your game that you're not expecting. Ready for things that are going to happen. Oh, didn't expect him to do that. The final arrow in my quiver. I've only got one arrow left in my quiver. Oh, I hope I'm going to kill someone soon. Get me final arrow. And it says, rules, brackets, break after reading. Rules. Snap. Dungeons and Dragons was not, N-O-T, created to be rule bound. It was created, and I've said it before, for you to have F-U-N, fun. We do not have fun when we are sat in with a table full of rule lawyers, all bringing their solicitors with them, saying, I can't do that on page 76. I'm going to look. Everybody gets the books out. Have a look through all the phones. I say, I'm going to cast this spell because it says that. So he said, oh, my interpretation of that means you can't cast it on water that is that's not in a barrel-sized container. So it doesn't say that. Well, this is my reading of it. Yes, but my reading of it is... you think the 10-minute rule's gone right out the window because you spent 10 minutes yapping on what's a barrel. I'm always tempted in the background to say, what size barrel? There's no right way to be a dungeon master. There are wrong ways to be a dungeon master. I think it's having your nose in a dungeon master's guide, to be honest. The happy-go-lucky, wing it merrily as he goes along gamer will come up with as exciting and fun a game as I will plotting it for hours. The difference is I enjoy plotting mine. You know, she wouldn't want to do what I'm doing. I wouldn't want to do what she's doing. But no, I don't have to. Nobody tells me. There's no rules say I should. And if there were rules to appear, I would ignore them anyway. Think on that. Leave a comment. Anyway, let's see what happens, shall we? Ta-da, Chuck.